Greetings and salutations, my fellow Americans, my fellow Marinites, Californians, and worldwide citizens. Hello, welcome, after a brief hiatus. Mike McDowd, a.k.a. the McDude, along with the one, the only, the truly affable, and warm and loving, and fuzzy, and yellow shirt wearing, Mr. Stephen Travers. Good afternoon, Mr. Stephen. Okay, nice to see you, buddy. Listen, lots to talk about here in the wide world of wackiness. Several subjects come to mind. By the way, I just want to let you know that Steve Travers and yours truly, Mike McDowd, we are what we call in the American lexicon now of the modern liberals. We are now what we call, see if you can read this. If you can, I'm going to translate it. We are now social justice warriors. Social justice warriors. How do you feel about being called a social justice warrior, Steve Travers? Sorry, man. That's the liberal catchphrase they're using these days to espouse their poison. Steve, 20 seconds. Social justice warriors. You say? Steve Travers, by the way, the author extraordinaire of over 30 books. Brilliant. Get his books anywhere and ever. We'll have Steve plug his stuff. I want to know exactly where we can go to get his books. Outstanding, brilliant writer. So Steve had a great opinion about being a social justice warrior. That's what we are now. We're social justice warriors. I learned that from Chelsea Clinton, by the way. Thank you, Mrs. Whatever. All right, Kathy Griffin, interesting lady. She decides to take a photo with a bloody head of our Commander-in-Chief, President Donald Trump, and now she finds herself in a heap of trouble. In fact, CNN has distanced themselves from her. She will no longer be participating in the New Year's Eve program. Who cares about her anyways? But the fact that when Steve Travers gets up as he blows his nose, which is a good thing too, that's what he thinks of Kathy Lee, whatever her name is, Kathy Griffin, and so she got herself in a lot of trouble, Steve Travers, and she now is complaining after dipping a head of our Commander-in-Chief in blood. Somebody did that for a photo shoot. She is now, she's now playing the victim role, Steve. And can you believe that this woman acted in such an egregious manner?
Yes.
Any thoughts on it?
No.
Okay. All right. This is good, riveting, captivating television day, folks. All right, moving along. Well, but listen, man. But Steve, the reason I'm asking is because now she's playing the victim. This is what the left does. They play victims. She's trying to get some lawyers to say that Donald Trump is a bully. Come on, who's the bloody bully? Pardon the pun. Come on, man.
She's an ignoramus in a landscape adulted by ignoramuses.
All right, moving along. Who really cares about this woman? We're talking about her or whatever.
I, for one, am not one who cares about her.
Yes, I know.
I care not what she says, what she does, or what she thinks. It's as immaterial to me as can be thought of by people.
Something comes to mind, Mr. Travers, and I'm going to mention it because I find it very sad. I know you didn't have a lot to say on it, but I'm sure that you will. We know that two quick stories are going to come to mind here. June 26th is the 2-year anniversary of the gays marrying whatever they want to marry. But my point is, Google, I noticed yesterday, and if you go to Google today, they have really done a hit job on when you go to the search engine. There's a big gay flag. They have something about the founder who constructed the gay flag and just Gay History Month. And I just find it so in your face, and as a Catholic Christian, I find it inappropriate and disgusting, quite frankly. Your thoughts? No thoughts?
It is disgusting and inappropriate.
Why do they feel they can just somehow shove it down our throats and we have to sit back and say, oh, bravo? Oh, but then again, I'm going to be construed.
Because righteousness is not some sort of thing that's going on in America right now.
Yeah, you can say that again. All right. Interesting lawyer out of Utah, and he works as a producer as well. He is arguing against the state of Utah that if same-sex couples have the right to marry, then why the heck can't he not marry his, as he says it, his laptop computer? Why not, Steve? What say you?
It's it's too dumb an idea or concept for me to worry about.
No, I understand that too. I hear you, but I mean,
I have other things to worry about.
all right, all right. Well, one thing that you and I spoke about, and we're going to say this, we're going to talk about it in a very sensitive manner, a caring manner. We're not here, I'll say it for my good friend Steve Travers and myself. We are the least racist human beings you'll ever meet. We love all people. I don't care if you're gay, pink, purple, but we're also going to speak the truth. One of the things we discussed about in a very, I'm not going to use the word profound, I'm just going to use the word deep, in a deep way, was the fact that racism does exist in America still. We don't discount that whatsoever. But what people don't understand, and I think Steve, you so eloquently put it last night, the very best of African Americans, the elite, have thrived in the United States of America. They have been the world leaders. And you had a very interesting take about that. And it's just filled with righteousness. And tell us, we were talking last night, and you're saying, that the best of the best who are black Americans come and hail from the United States of America.
You're mistaking or misspeaking. I didn't say. I said if name for me the 100 most famous black people in the history of the world, not African Americans, black people.
Black people, okay.
Who could be, they're black people.
Yeah.
They're not, they could be from anywhere. They could
Okay.
be from the Caribbean, they could be from Africa, they could be from the United
Italy,
States.
they could be from France.
They could be from anywhere.
Okay.
And the 100 most famous black people in world history. I name, you'd have to sit down and do some research. But off the top of my head, I'm thinking, okay, how many of them are American citizens and how many of them are not? And the only one who comes to my mind right off the bat who's not an American citizen is
Nelson
Mandela of South Africa. After that, I'm thinking maybe Daley Thompson, the decathlete from England. You could possibly say Hannibal, the Carthaginian general, but I'm not sure he was black. I think they were more like Tunisians or Algerians and more Arab. And maybe the great leader of the Zulu tribes, whatever his name was, I can't remember. His name was Zulu, I think. But as a general rule, I would think of the 100 most famous black people of all time. By and large, about 90 to 95 of them were probably citizens of America. Now, if America was such a racist country, how would that be possible? How come they're not from Africa? How come they're not from other countries? How come they're not from other places that aren't racist, that give them more opportunity? How come America is the place where they have the opportunity to become famous, and who are they? Well, I mean, off the top of my head, I'm thinking Barack Obama, Jackie Robinson, I don't know, Jesse Owens, Denzel Washington, Colin Powell, Louis Armstrong, Barry Bonds, O.J. Simpson, for that matter. I mean, the most famous black people in the world. And most of them are from America. So the idea that America is such a racist country that we keep black people down, they're not able to succeed, that doesn't fly. The other thing that I recalled was a class I took at Santa Monica College years ago on jazz appreciation. And I was about 19 years old. And one of the things we talked about in the class was African-American jazz artists who went to Paris in the 20s and 30s. They were talking Dizzy Gillespie and Thelonious Monk and a few other names. I'm not a huge jazz aficionado or have great knowledge of it. But it was an interesting class. I can't remember all their names, but it was an interesting class. And they all talked about what a great reception they had in France, and how the French women, the French women were very receptive to them, and the crowds were receptive, and the tacit idea was to make all us white kids in the class feel a little bit racist about, or feel like a little bit
cheese, please. Sorry.
badly about how racist America was, that we treated these great jazz artists so poorly, that they were treated better in France.
Yes.
Of course, then I started thinking about things. And then the intellect that God gave me kicked in.
Yes.
And it occurred to me that none of these jazz artists who went to Paris would have been invited to Paris in the first place if they were not rich and successful in Harlem and Chicago and Los Angeles and New Orleans and Kansas City and other cities that, to the best of my knowledge, are in America. They never would have been invited to Paris in the first place if they hadn't achieved great success in America.
You're truly affable and warm and fuzzy, Stephen Travers.
So these facts projected themselves into my brain, and and now I'm informing you.
Steve, I don't know.
Now you know about it.
You in Rio Linda, Bakersfield. You in Pocatello, Idaho. Steve, this is a pretty heavy racist topic to talk about, but you're just speaking the truth. I mean, as you were looking.
Well, something that true can't be known by people in America.
Yeah. You think, when you talk about racism in America, do you think it's just a calling card for the left, isn't it? I mean,
well, that's all they have left.
That's
the other thing that occurs to me, because I happen to know things, is that in 1957, Republican President Dwight Eisenhower tried to enforce civil rights laws in America, the same civil rights laws that Lyndon Johnson enforced in 1964-65 in the Great Society. He was blocked by Lyndon Johnson and other Democrats. All Democrats blocked him. It wasn't until 64, and then of course the Republicans are the only reason Johnson passed it in 64 and 65.
Listen, we only have about a minute and a half. Why do liberals, white liberals, and for that matter, any Democrat, deny the truth, the veritas of American history? Why is there such a great denial of this truth?
Well, the glory of it seems to have been captured by patriotism on the right, and people who are patriotic tend to the right, so they have to find their voters somewhere, and they've got to create victims. And they need an underclass of unsuccessful people who don't do well. If you have people who are succeeding, doing well, making money, providing for their families, by natural construct, they'll just become Republicans sooner or later. So they need to hold people down so they continue to be Democrats.
But yet, in 20 seconds, 30 seconds, there's plenty of some very successful Democrats, financially, and yet they still vote for this poisonous party.
Well, a lot of very successful African Americans vote Republican. There are some who don't, but when you go to Republican rallies and what have you, and you meet African Americans there, by and large, they're pretty successful people who've done well with the American dream.
5 seconds. Last word of the day.
Have faith.
Have faith. Stay true to the Lord. God bless all of you. For the great Stephen Travers, I'm Mike McDude. Have a wonderful weekend.